military success in the Pacific has always relied on two things: naval strength and amphibious capabilities. Bitter fighting between the Allies and Japan across the region's seas and islands during World War II made this abundantly clear. China has carefully studied history, and its rapid increase in military might is now changing the balance of power in the world's largest ocean. That makes many of China's neighbors nervous, and one is responding in kind. Even amid China's overall military growth, the expansion of People's Liberation Army Navy or PLAN and its Marine Corps or PLANMC has been striking. In the last 3 years, the PLANMC has grown from 10,000 Marines to between 28,000 and 35,000 and has plans to eventually reach a total of 100,000. After briefly forming and disbanding in the 1950s, the PLANMC was re-established in 1979 and, like the PLAN, soon began receiving significant investment. Today, the PLANMC has 7 brigades and is present wherever the PLAN operates. Each brigade is heavily armed, including a minimum of 2 infantry battalions, an armored regiment, a howitzer battalion, a missile battalion, and a special forces amphibious reconnaissance battalion. Particularly impressive are the PLANMC's armored amphibious vehicles. These include the ZBD-05, which is actually faster on water and better armed than its Western counterpart, which Japan uses, and even a self-propelled howitzer, the PLZ-07. U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency in 2019 called the PLANMC a fully amphibious force capable of conducting amphibious assault operations using combined arms tactics and multiple avenues of approach. The PLANMC is the most capable amphibious force of any South China Sea claimant, the agency said. This is due in large part to the strength of the PLAN, which is the world's largest navy with well over 300 vessels. China is building ships faster than almost all of its competitors. According to a U.S. Office of Naval Intelligence report, their design and material quality is in many cases comparable to U.S. Navy ships, and China is quickly closing the gap in any areas of deficiency. This is certainly true of vessels used for amphibious operations. The plan has long maintained a fleet of landing ships to carry tanks, troops, and equipment. That fleet has been bolstered by new, modern amphibious ships similar to those used by the British, French, and U.S. navies. Since 2006, the PLAN has acquired 6 Type 071 amphibious transport docks with at least one more on the way. These ships differ from previous landing ships in that they can carry hundreds of troops, multiple armored amphibious vehicles, and up to 4 air-cushioned landing craft or LCAC. It can also carry 4 or more transport helicopters, such as the Z-18, for air assault missions. In just over a year, China has built 2 Type 075 amphibious assault ships, essentially small aircraft carriers that can carry 900 troops, multiple LCACs and armored vehicles, and up to 30 helicopters. China is building a 3rd Type 075 ship and may even design a follow-on class to carry drones and jets. The PLA's ground forces also have entire brigades dedicated to amphibious operations that would support the PLANMC. While Japan has a more solid naval infantry tradition, its pacifist constitution limits it to defensive capabilities, prohibiting it from having a Marine Corps in the traditional sense. But the rising threat Japan sees in China has forced it to think about how to handle a potential conflict with its massive mainland neighbor. The Japanese are particularly worried about an invasion of their southern home islands, especially the Ryukyu Islands, which stretch from Kyushu to Taiwan. With most of those islands lacking a large military presence, Japan found that it would need to be able to rapidly deploy reinforcements. This is a major shift from Japan's longtime focus on using armor and artillery to respond to a potential Soviet invasion from the north, Dr. Zach Cooper, a research fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, told Insider. Now they're having to actually turn 180 degrees to where armor and artillery aren't very useful and figure out how to get down to these islands in the south to deal with China, Cooper said. As a result, Japan turned the small amphibious unit from its Western Army into an entirely new unit, the Amphibious Rapid Deployment Brigade, created in 2018. It's Japan's first Marine unit since World War II and now has about 3,000 troops. The ARDB is equipped with US-made AAV-7 amphibious assault vehicles and the Komatsu light armored vehicle. Japan also plans on acquiring up to 17 MV-22 Ospreys for transportation as well as a number of LCACs. The brigade is modeled on and trains extensively with the U.S. Marine Corps, giving it access to some of the most advanced training doctrine and methods available. It is also supported by Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force ships, particularly its two types of helicopter carriers, some of which will soon carry F-35B jets. The ARDB is nowhere near as strong as the PLA-NMC, but they aren't meant to do the same thing. The missions are very different, Cooper said.